guard stuff. You guys remember that game? Didn't last very long. You guys are going to be the first ones to see this job, by the way. So when you are figuring out how to price yourself, though, right? Let's get back to that. If you can spend less time trying to force a job out with, subpar materials, subpar time, you're stressed out because you're not charging enough. You just put all of that effort into slowly building up your portfolio. Even if you only have like 1, 2, or 3 like really good portfolio pieces, it's always going to be drastically better than something that was built for way under budget, way under price, things that you had to make a bunch of sacrifices with. Does that all make sense? It's really that kind of like quality over quantity so often, because like I think the world now exists in this mass production society. There's so much just like not even like AI slop, but just slop in general, that we just get overexposed to way too much stuff. And so that's where starting to value your own time, I think it over time will pay off, especially because it's like you might be able to do like 10 different projects in a year, but over the course of like 3 or 4 years, even though you've got 40, 50 jobs or 40 to 50 different projects, if they're all kind of in that same place where you're just like forcing them out, right? You're going to end up with just stuff that isn't really high enough quality for you to then go to clients and be like, this is exactly what we can give you. This is, something that's also going to help when you've got quality finished products. Here, I'll show you one. I'll show you a cool one. Let's see. Media kit. There's so many things in this folder. We've done a lot of jobs. Here's a fun one. You guys, who plays TFT? Anyone? So we do the Golden Spatula Awards. There we go. Yeah, so we get to make these dorky things, right? And the physical spatula is removable. It's small. It's nice and tidy. It's a good project. But the background on how this job came to be, Riot reaches out. They say, hey, we need trophies. We say, sure, what are you looking for? What is the scope? What is the build? What is the design aesthetic? Give us the brand guide. Give us the different, TLDRs of all the different things you're looking for, right? And so the Golden Spatula is like the most powerful weapon in the game, which is just super campy. But then what they want is for it to have, a little bit of that maintaining like the campiness, but also they want to maintain like the aesthetic overall, while it also just has like high perceived value. So that's why it's got rhodium plating, it's got gold plating, things like this. Now, here's how we actually price it out. So when we go and we work with a client, the first thing we want to ask them isn't, we don't quote. We don't give prices anymore. We'll give price ranges where it's like, it's kind of between here and here. It really depends on the actual like project we're doing. But then the one thing that tends to really help out for a lot of clients is we build multiple year contracts with them, okay? So we've got a 3-year contract with this job right here. And what that allows us to do is, rather than all the upfront like design time, all of the initial fabrication time for molds, all of that is able to basically be spread out over those 3 years. So the price per unit goes down just a little bit. The moment the client feels like they're getting a deal, they feel good about it, right? It means now all of a sudden we're working with them to try and cut costs, even if it's down a little bit. Or what it does is it allows us to go, hey, we can cut it down by this much. And that's also about the same price that allows us to also do now plating for all of these, right? And so now, rather than having something that's just simply painted, it's now plated. They're way happier about it. Another way of having a good, here, just for fun, here's like many of them in a shot. Oftentimes sometimes they'll send us concept art. So this is a good example. This is the Tekken 8 World Championship trophy. This one just was done, I think, February or March. That's what $14,000 of gold and rhodium plating looks like. It's 36 inches tall, I think. Now, the way that this one was handled is every winner, right? So this is on the podium. This was out in Sweden. So this is their display version. It lives in the office. And then the winners each year get one that is scaled down to, I think, about 15 inches. And so this one has all the lights, all the craziness, all the bells and whistles. But even that small one, it's a nice totem that's indicative of that win. They get to keep it. They get to enjoy it for the rest of their time. Part of what got us into enjoying the entire trophy side. I've made trophies for years now. It just kind of like randomly started happening back in like 2012. But in 2016, Sammy and I, we competed in TwitchCon's first costume contest, and we won with a big Reinhardt costume. Some of you might have seen it back in the day. But I ended up getting a trophy for winning that from Volpin Props. And this is the same guy that does pretty much all the other Riot trophies you guys have seen. He's the one that does most of them. And so every time I get to see that trophy, I get to kind of go back to that moment, enjoy that experience again. And so having the ability to reproduce those same sort of feelings is something I think that's really paid off in the long run. We can scroll through different images. We do a lot of our own marketing and media. We do all of our own marketing and media. Sometimes we'll outsource the work to other people to come in and do film editing, but we've got a pretty sweet setup now. Our home is wild. You can ask Sai. He's been there. Do they even know you as that? Professor Ruiz. He's like, oh no, I'm called out. Oh yeah. So you guys asked, I think was it Travis? You asked earlier whether they give us concept art. So oftentimes for the awards, they won't. For the Tekken trophy, they sent us the arena stage, and they were like, "Here's some cool ideas that we have, and then here's past things that we've done." And we're like, "That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That is totally impossible to do. That one's way cost prohibitive." Actually, that's a fun detour on the conversation, which is when you talk to a client, don't just give them one option, give them like three options. I said earlier, we'll give them like price ranges, like something like that typically is within here. And then after we have the conversation, I'll just get straight to it and say, you tell me what your budget is, we can build it for that budget. And then I'll come back and I'll actually upsell them and say, here's the dream version that gives you just a little more than what you're looking for. And it's going to check every single box, including the one you didn't think about. And so often they'll spend the extra $5,000-$6,000 and they'll go for like the crazy version. All right. So you guys wanted to talk about Warframe. So you're a Warframe player? All right. So we're currently doing Father Leon Allard. We're doing Daddy. So let's go down to Warframe. By the way, Digital Extremes, if you guys ever have a chance to work for Digital Extremes, it is one of the best game companies I have ever worked. It is probably the best game company. I shouldn't say that. It's one of the best game companies I've ever worked with. They care. I mean, they're Canadian, but they do have employees all over. All over. All right, so awards for this one. So ironically enough, the awards that we make for them isn't for anything related to in-game stuff and esports. It's for their cosplay contest. And man, they're willing to front a lot of money. So this is a standardized award that we do for medals. This is painted version. So let's say there's like multiple categories where it's like, here's the best proto frame, here's the best this, here's the best armor. They'll do one of these. And then best in show, they've got first, second, and third place best in show. So this one is gold and copper plated. This one's gold and silver plated. And then finally, for first place, they get this cool trophy. So this is the Zariman. This is the awards that we did for them last year. We're doing more this year that haven't been shown yet. NDA. Teehee. But the thing that we also did a couple years back for these guys, Sammy, I think it would be yeah. We've had the opportunity of doing more electronics and animatronics. Who does animation? Man, you're the goat here, dude. This is what we would call the digital generalist back in the day, because everything seems to have become more niche and like targeted and specialized. When I was in school, we were all generalists, so it was like rigging, animation, a bit of programming, a lot of programming actually, digital sculpting, the whole nine yards. Commission props, Warframe. I mean, the weapons are all right, Sam. So different props that we've made. This is the Why does he keep doing that? Stop it. This is the Archiplasmor. This thing was built in a week. Crunch time exists in the game industry, and unfortunately, it also pushes into all of the adjacent companies and industries that work with the game industry. Because everybody has, the most dangerous words you've ever heard. Wouldn't it be cool if? And then that turns into no sleep for like a week, sometimes a month. What was that? Yeah, but that was me saying that, and that was stupid of me. Yeah, so and then we did a bunch of these pistols, either the Sirocco's. Oftentimes, these guys will get utilized in other fun ways. This is another Warframe prop we did. This is the Grimoire. This was a newer weapon that came out a few years back. What's your main weapon? Oh, sweet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Warframe's crazy, by the way. So if you guys haven't played it, like, that game's wild. All right. So, and then moving on into one of the other things that was fun. And this one, honestly, probably was the closest to shooting us in the foot, so to speak. So a couple years back, they wanted us to do costumes. We were like, yeah, let's do this. And then halfway through the like contracting process, they were like, hey, we're not doing this whole area anymore, but we have this budget allocated and you're approved for it. Got any ideas? And so that Grimoire I showed you guys, it exists on this altar when you first get it. And I always wanted to make the altar, okay? But then they didn't want the altar. And so I was like, well, let's make the altar. So we got to make a full game. We got to make a full arcade machine. And this one, we did all of the electronics, we did all of the programming, we did all of the UI, GUI, all of the different things interfacing on it. And then the funnest part, though, is I got to do all of the animatronics. So this guy on top, it's called, is there a video in there? Thank you, Sammy. I love you. She's great. It'll play. Yeah, so this is an arcade trivia machine, right? So when you launch the game, it pops up. There's that little robot guy on top. His name is Necroloid, right? And Necroloid is, it's kind of a sad story. Do I have to press play? I do. Are you sure? You sure? There we go. I mean, it's fine. Working as intended. So that's OTAC. That's the psycho murder robot on the backside of Necroloid, because he had a secondary personality uploaded when he almost died. So if you get the answer wrong, this guy will turn to you and he'll turn red, as you can kind of see. This is like 2 FPS, I guess. So he will turn back and he'll say, "You've gotten the answer wrong, blah, 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 blah." Actually, he's way crazier sounding. Versus the forward-facing guy that you saw at first. Ah, there it goes. Never mind. It lied. There you go. So that's OTAC. That's Lloyd. And so much of what was fun about this is a lot of the things that we learned in game development school, right, about suspension of disbelief and interaction and being able to really like hook and gain your audience's attention. We got to put a lot of that into effect with this guy. And that was really trying to, maintain what is called suspension of disbelief. And that's your willingness to believe that this thing is real, at least for that moment, for entertainment purposes. And that's so much of what we do in the game industry, right? So this is probably one of my favorite things. And then the other side that made this one super successful is the actual motion controls, right? So since you're the only one that does animation in here, when you have a chance, check out a program called Bot Tango, Bottango. It's free, open source. I think open source, free. And it'll allow you to set up servos and control them over serial in real time from a traditional keyframe animation sort of environment, just like in Maya, just like in Blender. And so as you're animating it on screen, it maps and it projects those onto the motors in real time. Professor Ruiz helped me figure this one out back in the day. I've known him since I was like 11. Hey, look, now it works. Kind of. All right, moving on. So we've covered like the range of different Warframe stuff. So, so far we've talked about relationship building, how to kind of garner trust. Probably one of the most important things when it comes to building that trust is actually finishing on time. So it's like the first time you get a job, make sure you finish it on time. the last time you get the job from them, also make sure you finish it on time, because then it means it's going to turn into more jobs, right? So often, like the best person, you can be like the most skilled artist, the most talented programmer, you can be the best of the best. And if you don't finish on time, you're not going to get more work. It's going to constantly burn bridges. It's going to sabotage, the working environment that you're involved with, and it's just bad all around. So that's one of the things that I can't stress enough is like you need to kind of go into that whole like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if? And then you need to take it back one step and go, wouldn't it be cool if we could finish this on time while still doing this, right? And if you can do that, then you're good. Here's an old one. I don't even think Roll20 does esports anymore, right? You guys are like, who is that? Teehee. Here's fun. You guys saw what was that map? Corrode? Was that what it was called for Valorant? Corrode, yeah. So Riot is a really fun company to work with because they like to troll all of their players. Okay, so here's a good example. We did this one last year. So when Corrode was before Corrode was announced, actually, they had hit us up and they said, "Hey, we're doing a small esports tournament. It's going to be 50 influencers. This is happening up in Canada." And we just want to troll the heck out of them. So, this map that we're doing, we're going to have salt crates involved, or there's going to be crates of these like empowered salt crystals called Salienite, all these different things. So we made 50 of these crates for them with Malden salt, which is like the most prestigious salt that you can get. And yeah, it was just dumb. It was dumb. It was fun. I like these kind of jobs because they're the ones where like it gets people to really feel like, haha, that's funny. And then if you can make people laugh, oftentimes that's what really like keeps them entertained and involved. Tyler One. Yeah, you guys like Tyler One? Yeah? He's like less ragey nowadays. Is that what it was? Papa Tyler. Yeah, we got to make we're just kind of like going through talking about different random stuff we've made, which is kind of fun. Yeah, these were Trolley as well. So this is when he got top rank in all of the different lanes. Um, and what was terrifying for me was watching him on stream try to put all of these on at the same time and not break them. And I'm just like, oh no, look at him go. It was fine. They didn't break. Well, that's the other thing is like, even if something breaks, it does create a moment and like a memory, right? Obviously, we have to then like probably try and replace it, which can stink, but that's okay. It's part of the process. This one was fun. Clients oftentimes like this isn't something that's going to affect you guys so much, but it's still kind of good to talk about it. Clients so often they don't think about a whole lot of like cause and effect at times, and so they'll make requests that can be a little sketchy and dangerous. So for example, this was the Red Bull Homeground Valorant competition trophy last year. Yeah, last year. And the one thing they wanted is for the actual winner to be able to pick it up and celebrate with it. And so the torch is removable from the hand. But the problem is the moment you have motion and movement like that, it's really kind of sketchy and dangerous. So it was funny. Funniest part is they didn't even do that. It's just like all 5 of their team members like lifting this thing up like this together from the base. And you watch the video and they shove it up and then the actual torch goes. This whole thing should just be on like Chad having panic attacks and anxiety during streams, shouldn't it? It's okay. We overbuild everything. Everything. How do you start building the base of any of this like stock right? Like so sure. When you're building your Tyler One props or your Salienite boxes, right? Yeah. How do you start? Single one of them is pretty much the same dang thing, unless you're talking about going from something that's CAD like Fusion or SolidWorks or Rhino compared to your traditional polygon modeling, right? But as far as the software that is most used nowadays, it's really like Maya is still kind of king, right? ZBrush, as far as digital sculpting, is king. Those two are used widely. Blender, though, Blender is totally being adopted, right? Like I think it was used almost completely for Clair Obscur. So, as far as like basic skills to learn, Blender's free. So if you guys want to learn that, obviously as students, I think you guys still have access to educational Autodesk stuff, right? Yes. If you're a student here, I'm pretty sure you can get Maya and all these other programs from Autodesk for free for now. I have to pay for it. It's a little pricey, but that's fine. I wanted to talk about these. This was a fun one we got to do. This was for Disguised Toast. So when they can't, yeah, we do a lot of stuff for League. So when LCS, sometimes they'll reach out to trusted friend individual like vendors, and they'll say, "Wouldn't it be cool if?" And then we're supposed to insert blank, right? So we got to do a bunch of full-size Vigauntlets. They didn't know they were going to be full-size. My team regretted them being full-size. Yeah, these guys were 32 inches tall. And then I also said, man, wouldn't it be cool when the person won if they could put their fist up in there and there was fly-by-wire controls and then the hands moved. So they did that too, which Riot also didn't know. So we show up for the delivery and they're like, these are really big. These are really cool. And then I'm like, yeah, you can put them on. They're like, of course you can. Now, mind you, it also is what cemented that relationship. The fact that we pulled it off, the fact that we did it now means they know what we're capable of, the range of skills we can do, the variety of type of things that we can do, the implementation, the success of it all, how you can do lighting effects, all these different things, right? It's a good solution. This is a combination of urethane resin, a combination of ABS. That's a common filament that we utilize. Do you do 3D printing? Oh, super cool. I'll have to show you the high guard stuff in a second. Yeah, so it's just a combination of different plastics. We do a ton of 3D printing. 3D printing has evolved a tremendous amount. The newer systems that they're using, the newer equipment and machines, the tolerancing is so much better than it used to be that it's really useful for practical applications nowadays. Versus beforehand, it was really only useful for like mock-up and prototype to a certain degree. Things are much stronger, and then resin printers have come a long way. I will say there are some dangers inherent with things like resin printers that if you guys are interested, does anybody do 3D printing? Cool. Anybody do resin printing? Hi, Sammy. You're good because I've taken care. We have a huge industrial fume head. Yeah, so the blue gem, for example, in the fist, that's resin printed. And then those finger knuckles, those are white diffuse resin. It's custom blended by us. I do a lot of material sciences as well, so we'll custom mix a lot of our own stuff. Yes. All right. Sammy, you wanted me to show them the drifter and operator. It's another different type of activation. Oh, gosh. Just really quick so you can see. Other costumes. I'm going to show you this really quick, and then I'll show you the finished result. So this is an example of what a costume will look like in 3D space before it goes to print. So dimensional accuracy is a huge struggle with what we do. So let's say Capcom hits us up and they want us to make a Monster Hunter costume, kind of like that one over there. The files that they have set aside have no considerations for the fact that I don't have the console command to turn no clipping on, right? And so oftentimes like something like World of Warcraft shoulders or, Monster Hunter shoulders, things that, somebody's going to have to wear, they'll just like cut your head off, right? They just don't function. And so we'll have to go and we'll have to make some considerations for that. And then scaling and fitting that stuff. Oftentimes it's like these super yoked out like anime character models, right? And that just doesn't exist almost at all in reality. So it's like, we'll figure out who the actual person wearing it's going to be. Sometimes it'll just be a performer, an actor, stuntman. Sometimes I'll wear it myself. That's my costume, by the way. I fit in it somehow. We'll 3D scan us, right? And then so that 3D scan is dimensionally accurate. We'll bring that into software, and then we'll start scaling and manipulating objects just to kind of think about how it's going to be worn by that person. The other thing that's really nice is if you've got a digital scan of somebody, I think you might be the only one knowing what I'm talking about. You can do topological projection for quad drawing, and you can actually design where your strapping is going to be, where your harnessing is going to be, the actual shape of like your leather outfit, for example, or what kind of things you're going to need to do for rigging. So all that gets pre-planned in digital space because physical fabrication's super expensive. Digital fabrication is essentially just whatever your time is, right? Now time is money, right? But being able to do it in digital space also allows us to take like a character rig and actually rig up the character and do deformation testing, see where you're going to have collision issues, make sure you're not going to have binding, stuff like that. And that goes, I mean, that in and of itself, when you're working with a client, being able to do a full suit of armor, which by the way, that is the most expensive type of work we do, right? Because making costumes work and fit on a person really sucks. Right, I'm not gonna lie. I love it, but there's more art, I would say, in having a functional costume than the actual like conceptual sculpting side of it already. And that's just because it's like the combination of form and function, right? And that's another thing that I think projects more than just on like this kind of thing, but really in all the different things that we do, whether that's in the game industry or in physical fabrication. That's my ugly mug in there, by the way. Yeah. I want to pull up the other Lich King because that was another good one. And then how much time do we have? Is I think another 10 minutes, right? Give or take. I think it was 1 hour. It's fine. I'll keep talking until they tell me to get down. So probably one of my favorite projects we ever did. This was for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So I get a call from Make-A-Wish out in Arizona, and they say, hey, we've got this kid. He wants Lich King armor. Can you help? And of course, I'm like, yes, let's go. So the thing about this one, the kid had leukemia. And just because you're in the Make-A-Wish Foundation doesn't mean you're dying. It just means you're incredibly sick, right? And so when they went in and they asked the kid, hey, we're from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We'd like to give you this thing. He said, I want armor. Now, his dad's a Darth Vader. He does like the 501st. And so his dad knew what he was talking about. But being able to digitally scan him or take his measurements, do all these different, things, and then work remotely, that's what kind of enables us to work more globally, right? So let's say we have a client out in New York. We can fly out there. We can scan that person. We can come back. We can work on stuff for like 2-3 months and then go back out there, and it'll fit that person almost perfectly as long as they don't eat a whole lot of cheeseburgers. That has happened. The only caveat with this one is the kid was incredibly weak. And so he had a weight max of, I think his dad said 20 pounds. And so that whole costume, I'm proud to say, was 22 pounds. Man, he looked so cool. The only hard part is he ended up in remission, and then he had a growth spurt, and he was about 6 inches taller when we went to visit him. So we had to remake his thigh guards. But that's okay. Yeah, he was shorter when I met him. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. Oftentimes, it'll be about 1 to 2 months on a costume. So for the Drifter, for example, this guy was built in about 2.5, 3 weeks. Nope, I get that one. This guy's cool. Now, I think Digital Extremes, they've done enough of these costume projects over the years where they've started figuring out what works really well for them and what doesn't. So oftentimes they will have us design stuff that is intended for display after the fact. And so anything we make for them now also has considerations for display on a mannequin later down the road. We'll custom design the mannequin or alter one so it'll function going into the future. And then there's like the weird little creepy operator. It's not going to open. That's fine. What was that? It's just this like tiny little costume. So like when I was walking into the shop and it would just be like sitting there like this, and I'm like, oh god. All right, I'll show you guys really quick because I think we're running out of time. Our current project that just went live, and then obviously, like, if you guys have any questions, we should talk. Let's see. Now let's talk about HighGuard. Nobody's seen these, which is why I want to show them off. So I can talk smack too. So this is this is the pistol we made for them. Are you guys familiar with HighGuard? Yeah, you guys heard the horror stories. So Dynasty, Longhorn. This thing was cool. This is probably one of the coolest props we've made. This guy has a center acrylic core that's been laser cut for all these little lightning bolts, right? So obviously, like the game companies, they come up with stuff that just can't exist, right? It's like, how do you make crystal Damascus steel, right? That's my job to kind of figure out something that kind of looks like that. I think we did an okay job. But this guy right here has multiple different layers to try and accomplish the end aesthetic. This was the shield breaker, by the way. You can kind of see, different question. Who does miniatures? Anyone? Okay, so a lot of dry brushing effects. You kind of see it. Now it's dry brushed with candy paint, so like alcohol dyes. So you still have the illumination transmissibility, but then it will still kind of have, you know, that distinct effect. But yeah, HighGuard, they still owe us money. Well, maybe that's the other thing we talk about is pricing scheme. So when you charge somebody, there's a couple ways to do it. A lot of the time, everything is set up as net 30, net 60 nowadays. It's awful. As the vendor, you're basically an interest-free loan company because if you don't finish it on time, you are in the doghouse. But if you finish on time and you give it to them and they don't pay you, well, hey, we're sorry, it's the accounting team. It's never the accounting team. It's like the executive team that just doesn't want to sign the check and like lose money. So that happens a lot. And that's probably what kills most businesses is you have to essentially over time acquire a bit of a war chest. So when we do a big project like this, we'll typically, like on the Bandai job, for example, we had to pay for the plating up front, right? Unless we're taking into consideration how much that's going to cost and we're able to negotiate getting a deposit that's enough to cover a lot of those costs. And that's where having really good breakdown of what your costs look like is incredibly important. Not so bad on digital side because it's pretty much just time. But when you start to go into like the more physical fabrication side, there's quite a bit of overhead costs of doing business that start to accumulate, right? The other problem is like, let's say you've got a bunch of employees, all of that salary you're paying ahead of time, boom, 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 boom. That's really starting to drop that war chest into kind of like scary territory. So it's super important to think about how you're maintaining those, like that war chest, and then also how you can continue to build that up more. Because the more you have available to put into a job, right, the cooler the jobs you can start accepting. And that's the real kind of like limiting factors. There's these big, they call them like glass ceilings basically in business, where it's like, this is the highest you can basically get promoted before now you're starting to go into like corporate and executive side of things, right? And oftentimes it's near impossible to get outside of that. There's a version of that exists as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. And a lot of that, like I said, has to do with how much just disposable funds you have to put into those active projects. So you have a $100,000 job come in, you need to be able to negotiate that. Here's how we'll do it. All of our jobs, we require half up front from the moment like we start talking to them. We're trying to pursue that. We're trying to get that deposit. But that contract negotiation process still typically takes like anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. And so if we don't start the work at that part at the very start, even before we've gotten a dime, we won't be able to finish on time. And so part of what I think has allowed us to succeed in what we're doing is being able to forecast as much of what I say that a lot, don't I? Forecast. It's because it's a lot of it. We have to try and figure out all the things that we can possibly do while minimizing what those costs are going to look like. Because there's often times where the client will come back in, like with that job with Digital Extremes, which turned into not Digital Extremes, Riot. Digital Extremes does it too. But that pivot, right? we were able to do a lot of preliminary digital work, okay, that only cost us time. We weren't actually 3D printing stuff yet. We weren't machining stuff out. We weren't buying stuff quite yet. And then when they needed to change, we could pivot and just switch over to something else without it just like completely killing us. So once again, getting back to like price breakdowns, half up front is always ideal. Okay. And then half before delivery. They're never going to want to say that. They're never going to want to agree to that until you get big enough to demand it. And that's the other side of it, is you have to be willing to say no. Probably the most instrumental transition I had in my career as a business owner was it was back in 2022. So in 2022, had a client reach out. They wanted us to do a job. And I just straight up was just like, honestly, no. And it was probably the first time I've truly said no. Put my foot down. No, we're not going to do that. We're not able to do that. It wasn't that we didn't want to. It was just no. And they replied and they said, what is it going to take for you to say yes? And all of a sudden it was like, oh, cool. We're now in that echelon, in that range of notoriety and success, where they're not just looking for a vendor that can do the job. They want us to do the job. And I think that's the big goal that you need to aim for overall in whatever career you're doing, right? Whether it's in industrial art or it's as a programmer or a game modeler, is how can you develop yourself as a professional to the point where not only are they looking for somebody who can do the job, but you're actually the right person to do that job. And a lot of that, I think, has to do, once again, going back to those original things we talked about, which is like relationship building, trust, skill sets, a diversity of skill sets, problem solving. Man, so many people can't solve problems at all anymore, it seems. And I think it's kind of the drawback of almost being too hyper niche and specialized, is you don't have enough overlap with some of these other skills. I think what you're doing, having exposure to both programming as well as like 3D modeling, that's going to be super beneficial in the game industry, because you're probably going to be in a better position. If you go into the modeling side, you're going to have a better familiarity with what the programmers are going to probably find some struggles with. And vice versa, as a programmer, you would also have a better kind of idea of what some of the modelers and the animators and the art team are going to struggle with. And that's where I think whatever you end up doing, experiment in the different things that are adjacent to what you do, because a lot of that is what explains how Hoku Props came to be. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like the epitome of how that can fork off into a different realm. Does anybody have questions? Yeah. Hi, what's your name? Hi, Mike. Cool. Hi, Dylan. Oh, cool. Sure. Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Sure. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, we can't do that. I like how you put that. Yeah. I'm going to steal that. Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm. It gives you that kind of a surety. Yeah. 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 You said 10, 40, 40, 10? Yeah. Sure. But they trust you. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think the pricing breakdown, what you're discussing, is similar. We do one other version, and that's 30% breakdowns, right? And so it's like initial cost if they can't handle 50% up front, which that happens with smaller clients for sure. We'll ask for 30% up front, and that should cover most of the material expenses as well as some of the overhead costs of doing business. And then it's another 30% at proof of substantial progress, right? So that's once fabrication's fully like mid stages of fabrication where here's what you've got. We always do statements of work and we do a work back schedule. I can kind of show you guys some of that. Not so much the work back schedule, but actually the client interaction. You'd be surprised. Most of our clients now all like to work on Discord. And so we'll straight up just be in there. And over time, the clients, they'll actually start adding other developers to the Discord chat, and they're just kind of like fly on the wall seeing what's going on. But what's been useful for that is they'll chime in and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's supposed to be bone, or that's supposed to be this sort of material property, etc. But getting back to the 30%, once the final project is done upon delivery, it's like that's when that final payment comes through. But man, it's always that net 30 kind of like, they're always pushing net 30, always. And it's gotten worse to net 60, especially with the economy just being stinky lately. Yeah. I'm going to try the 10, 40, 40, 10. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. The only place where we had a similar, where it was more like regulation, kind of like restrictions, London, Ontario. This is with Digital Extremes. Anything that's plugging into the wall, going into the grid, it has to be inspected by Intertech because they have UL 94V0 fire safety requirements on their electrical. Which, guys, that's like crazy. That's like clean room levels of electrical safety, right? But outside of that kind of specific thing, and when that happens, we'll typically talk with the client and they're responsible for covering that cost directly. It just sometimes turns into a reimbursement. But thank you. We should talk. I want your contact. Any other questions? Anything at all? What's up? What's your name? I mean, I grew up working on cars, but how long I've been doing this stuff specifically, over 15 years now. Video game side of things, I've been working in ZBrush for over 20 years now. So that's definitely like, I love ZBrush. It's great. Any other questions? What's my least favorite? Start with my least favorite, sanding. Yeah. Yeah. We complement each other pretty well in most ways. Yeah. I don't know why she likes sanding. It's crazy. But I would say, my ability to, it's such a trick question when you ask somebody, and I like to ask the same question to a lot of people. It's like, hey, what's your superpower? What is that thing that you are so incredibly good at? And the interesting thing about whatever you're like, I'll answer you. The thing I enjoy most is talking. I like communication, right? I like teaching. I like sharing. Where I'm at with this entire industry and what we do, I like to think that if I teach you a handful of things, or we go on social media or YouTube, Instagram, whatever, we do how-to videos and tutorials. We're published authors too. All of that information that used to be treated like a trade secret in the entertainment industry is really created a lot of problems now for the entertainment industry, especially Hollywood, because they've gatekept themselves out of the next generation of workforce, right? There's not a lot of people that can do the work for the entertainment industry. And then the other side of that is all of these older kind of the old guard special effects artists, they didn't really have a lot of financial education, unfortunately. And I think this is a lot of the past generation. You guys would probably be able to answer this for me too. They didn't learn how to invest for their future, especially when they needed to retire, which means they can't. And so now they're working into way too of an old age where they should just be able to chill back and relax, and instead they're still grinding. And it's a problem, I think, for the economy side, because it prevents the younger generation from being able to learn the skills adequately, move into those positions. There becomes a little bit, especially in like the FX side, the trade secret. It's really problematic because it prevents us from being able to do the work when that has to happen, right? And then so over time, it's created a situation where there's going to be this mass exodus of a workforce. And then there's going to have to be a group that can fill in and do that. Now, luckily enough, because of really open educational kind of opportunities, whether it's community college teaching you guys game arts program, or it's individuals like myself who's just like openly sharing all of the information and stuff we've figured out, it creates this environment where I can teach all of you guys whatever the heck I know. I'm not afraid of you replacing me. There's enough work out there for that, especially if I'm maintain my quality and my relationship building, right? But if I'm willing to share with you this information that's in the past was kept secret, you're going to go and experiment with that. You're going to figure out some new cool stuff. And then you might be willing to come to me and be like, hey, Chad, check out this really cool thing I figured out. And if all of you in the front row do that, that's now 5x the knowledge opportunity I have. So even if only one of you guys figure out something truly useful for me, that's still exponential growth in my book. And this is an entire auditorium full of people that are experimenting with that information, right? And so it's just like there's no reason to really keep all this stuff to yourself unless you're like, oh, I figured out this cool thing I'm going to patent, which honestly, that's a cool thing. But the whole process is kind of screwy anyway. So yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, I like talking. I like communicating. I love teaching. I love painting. Paint's cool, man. There's so much cool stuff you can do with paint. You absolutely can. I'll fight you on that one. Any other questions? Maybe? No? All right. Can we turn the lights on and anybody who wants to check out the costume, you guys can check it out. And then I'm just going to sit up here if you guys want to come bug me for the next little while. That would work for me. I think we're honestly overtime, right? So let there be light. Oh. Thanks, guys. This was fun. This is a good school, by the way. It really is. One eye.
I ain't scared of what they say, I ain't scared of what they preach. I don't care about anything when my goal is in my reach. Going up and up and up, I ain't falling at their feet. When they see me, better pray, cause I'm coming here to eat. I ain't scared of what they say, I ain't scared of what they preach. I don't care about anything when my goal is in my reach. Going up and up and up, I ain't falling at their feet. Cause tonight I'm going big. I'm about to take a leap. It's insane how I come out of the gate. Ain't ashamed of the booms and the ricochet. Loaded up cause I'm
all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Yeah. You have another speaker? Yes, we do. All right. For our second guest speaker, before he comes on up, I'd love to give a little bit of background of our guest speaker. He was one of the main people who helped out with the founding of Norco College Esports, put a lot of effort and time into it. He is also the co-founder of CSIL and is the operations director of it. And he's an executive producer for a game development studio. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to welcome our second guest speaker, Travis Osborne!
Are we streaming? Yes. Oh, okay. So we're streaming this too, which is really neat. Okay, so I know a lot of folks are outside doing their break, doing their thing, lunch, all that good stuff. But since we're streaming, I will also give just kind of a talk about myself. But before I do, Josiah Ruiz, I'd love to introduce him and bring him up. I actually work with Josiah, CEO of Broken Circle Studios here. If he wants to talk a little bit about Broken Circle, how the game dev studio operates, how the game industry works. Josiah, I'd love to hand it over to you.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm Josiah Ruiz, one of the founders of Broken Circle Studios. Travis, you're welcome to stay up here with me and give it's all good. Hey, I just got told I was coming up here to speak a couple of minutes ago, so hey folks, welcome to this great day at Norco College. I guess I'm just going to share some info about kind of my experience in the game industry. Travis, you and I can just bounce back and forth. I know we each have our own kind of talking points, so we'll just roll through it. So let me give a little bit of my background. So one of the things that probably some of you know or have heard is I teach here at Norco College. I'm one of the professors here at Norco College, and a lot of people ask me how are you in how did you come to be in education, or even where you're at in your career? And I feel like one of the things that's super important for anything in the tech industry, game industry, anything like that, is kind of understanding how people progress through stages of being in whatever industry that you're in, be it tech, gaming, kind of no matter what. So let me go into my background. I've always been very entrepreneurial, even going back to the time where I was in community college. I was always super excited about, going out and starting a thing. So back in and this seems like a long time ago, back in the 1990s, late 90s, yeah, right? Computers were a thing. And people didn't know how to use them, basically. So because I was into tech, I knew a bit about programming, I knew a bit about web design, I knew a bit about IT. I said, well, hey, let me get into this and do consulting for places on an individual basis. And that kind of drive to go out and do something is what kind of funded my way through college, starting at the community college, going into a 4-year and progressing through that. Now, along the way, at some point, somebody figured out hey, you're a really good programmer. And along with a bunch of other connections, somehow I ended up in the game industry. I've always liked games. I've always been into, graphics programming is super fun. Network programming is super fun. And kind of my gateway into that was doing an internship with a game company. And one of the things that you realize when you go into the game industry is that, it's one of those industries that, while competitive, it's also super exciting because you're working on a video game. You're doing something graphic, you're doing something fun. And one of the things that comes from that is like, hey, this is an industry that takes dedication. It takes excitement about the industry. You have to be into what you're doing. It's not the type of thing where you go in and you just go, well, I'm going to push a button. I'm going to push something down along the way. No, you have creativity. You have ideas. You want to bring those ideas to life. So for a number of years working in the industry, I got to work on a lot of exciting projects, but, as cycles go, at a certain point, there was an economic downturn way back in like 2008. I know, it's like, oh, it might come along.
You're carbon dating yourself. On
right?
This one.
It's a while ago. I'll come back to that because sometimes the game industry has really short, attention span for lifetimes in it.
Yeah.
So in moving through that, having that entrepreneurial spirit, when that happened, me and a business partner, James Finley, who was actually up here earlier today, we said well, why don't we start a game studio? And one of the things about technology is that it's constantly evolving. And when it comes to games, it's going to be something where you always are going to have some new evolution, some new thing. There's always a forefront of technology. And at the time, it was mobile app stores. So the mobile kind of revolution was happening because people were getting smartphones. In 2009, the App Store opened up. Android soon followed, and there was a lot of opportunity there. So there was a way for businesses to jump into the game industry. Whereas previously, if you were making games, you pretty much needed to be like a large funded massive studio because you were deploying to a console, which was insanely expensive just to get the hardware and just to get certified, or to PC, which still had a massive investment to get started because you needed actual physical product. You needed a floppy disk or you needed a whole CD just to get your content out to people. Nowadays, we don't even use physical media. It's like you just press a button and download whatever it is you want. But at the time, there was a huge amount of operational equipment that you needed and operational funded that you needed to get going. So as mobile opened, that was a brand new avenue to getting into as a business into game development. And when you're looking at any business, if you're starting it yourself, if you don't have massive amounts of funding, it's something that you need to look at. It's something that you need to kind of be smart about going into it and going, hey, how can I get into this industry? Where is there a niche? Can I make a product as a whole or as a part and get into that industry? So Broken Circle Studios was founded at the end of 2008, 2009. Which is kind of crazy because it's still in existence today, all the way here at 2026. So to say that there's, in the game industry, I thought I was old when I said, hey, I've got a studio that's 10 years old. People would be like, wow, 10 years, that's a while. When I got to 15, I was like, wow, people are like 15 years. There are a lot of really big studios with really big things that don't last that long. And now we're looking a few years away from 20. So that's kind of crazy. But along the way, accumulating degrees and sharing my knowledge, and I always tell people, I have a bad habit of going back for more education. It's like, hey, I want to get another degree. I want to get more training. But it's because I'm passionate about what I do. I'm excited about these things. And truthfully, some of the things that I've had to learn are not always about programming. In fact, a lot of what I do has had to move into the business space and the communication space and managing relationships with partners and clients. Chad was just up here and he was just talking about that. And that really is important. And as you grow, you just need to do more of that. So that's kind of where I've been in my path through this whole game industry thing. I'm here joined with Travis, who is super awesome and has his own story about the game industry and how he got into it. And I'd love for you to jump in and tie in with that. And I'll just cap off with, Broken Circle Studios is it's a game developer that's worked on over 100 titles across pretty much every platform. We've done stuff for mobile. That's about 70% of what we've done. Console, PC, and so on. So when we talk about working at a game studio, when we talk about like a background with these different things, it's in an area where the knowledge is really cross-industry, cross-platform, and at least in this area has matured over coming up on 2 decades of progress. So that's like a little bit of an introduction. Travis, let me turn it over to you to take over and talk from your side.
I love listening to it. I do want to play advocate for the audience for folks that may be listening. And how do you take 20 years away, and what's your advice to somebody who wants to start their business, to be an entrepreneur, to really start out into the field and take that first leap into it? What are the lessons that you've learned?
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good question. So, probably the first time you do it, it's not going to work. Maybe,
yeah, true. Yeah.
Maybe the second time you're not going to do it, it's not going to work. I remember my first business, I was like 10, and it was like a juice stand, with one of those juicers.
Yeah.
And I quickly realized that that is tough to do, because you've got to manage products that spoil, and games have a lot longer shelf life. I won't say that software doesn't spoil; like, it constantly needs to be updated, and things need to spoil. But don't plan for your first thing to win, but always be passionate about what you do. Always be excited about what you do, because if you're not excited about what you're making, nobody else is going to be. And that shows through to anybody that you're working with. The other thing is, understand who your clients are. Your clients may be the end user. They may be somebody in between. Not every company makes a product that they hand directly to like a consumer. A lot of it is business to business. So there are a lot of niches that you can get into by looking at a portion of a process rather than the whole process.
Yeah. Really great answer. No, and I want to tie in there. So first and foremost, hi, my name is Travis Osborne. I wear many hats. I do many things, but for the context of this, I am an executive producer for a game development studio called Broken Circle Studios. And I am also a co-founder and the director of operations for an esports nonprofit called the California Collegiate Esports League. So CCEL, you'll hear me say CCEL a lot. And one of the things that Josiah has touched on that I think is really important for what I want to talk about today, I want to talk about 2 things, right? And I think that one is, Chad, you weren't kidding, by the way. These lights are crazy bright. Chad, I want to be like the antithesis a little bit to like your experience. I think you've done a lot, but you are solidly in the industry, right? And you are somebody who has experienced those things to build to be part of the industry, and you are like the poster boy for somebody that would work in the industry. And I say that with all the respect, right? For me, my journey is a little bit like more winding. James, when he was up here earlier, which is the CEO of Broken Circle Studios, James talked about he never wanted to be a firefighter or a policeman. Like, that wasn't his dream job. I did. That's actually what I went to school for. I was going to go into law and law enforcement and do all that good stuff. And I actually worked for a couple of different police departments. And I get told all the time that I look like the stock image of a cop. You know what I mean? But I did that for a while. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And then I kind of meandered around where I was an operations director for Live Nation Entertainment. I ran, events and things like that. And then one day, a friend of mine, Roshan Uma, who can't be here today, he was actually supposed to be speaking, hence why I got the notification of this like 9:30 last night. He wasn't able to make it. He would have had great things to say. But he had this opportunity with James Finley, and James reached out to him and said, "Hey, I need an EP. I need an executive producer." And this is a 100% true story, and I wish James was here to corroborate. Roshan said, "I don't want the job, but I know a guy." And so he gives James my number. And James calls me while I'm at work for Live Nation. I'm running a concert. And I pick up the phone and I say, hello. And he goes, hey, my name's James. Roshan gave me your number and I, want to talk to you. And I went, cool. And he goes, I hate it when people know a guy. And he said, Roshan said he knew a guy. I don't like it when people know a guy, but also never say no to a conversation. And I said, right back at you. Let's do it. So he and I talked for a little while, and then he explained what the job was. And I said, yeah, let's do it. Like, that sounds great. That sounds fun. It sounds like something that I'd be interested in. And now here I am today, almost 4.5 years later, with Broken Circle. And we've done a whole bunch of different things, and it's a ton of fun. It's a great time. And I've done so much with esports and game dev and all these things, but all that to say that no matter what you want to do, where you end up, there's always a niche for you in esports and game dev, anything like that. You can meander away to go do whatever you want and go try a bunch of different things, because it's really cool to have the breadth of knowledge to connect with people and to talk with them. Chad, you talked a lot about that, about relationship building and about how important that is. Josiah's talked about that. James has talked about that. And my advice, like my core piece of advice to you, is that the most important thing you can be is friendly and personable, right? So I guess that's two things, but anyway. The idea is, like, the more you can talk to people, the more you're willing to reach out and talk to people, the more connections you can make, the more the business connections you can make, the more opportunities you'll have. And, like, for example, right, if I don't know Roshan, I don't know James, I don't end up with this job, and I'm not here in front of you guys today. And that's just kind of the journey to end up here. But the second thing I want to talk about is the identifying a niche that needs somebody to do the work. So Norco College, Roshan, I wish he was here today to talk. I would love to have him here. But he was instrumental in the initial setup of Norco College esports here. I went to Riverside City College over here. Shout out RCC. Yeah, very nice. I'm a big fan of Norco College. I've been at this campus a lot. I love it here. But Roshan was setting up this program, and he came to me, and he came to Austin here. I've known Austin for, I don't know, what was it, like 12 years now, something more, 14, something like that. Yeah, like a million years at this point. So he calls us up and he says, hey, we're building this esports program and I need help. And we said, sure, man, let's do it. We said, yes, we're there. And so we ran NSI, which was this huge event that everyone can tell you the horror stories about. But it went great and it was a ton of fun. And we got to build that program with Roshan. And we love to see the esports program flourish. Now, fast forward a few years, Roshan ends up at Santiago Canyon College out in Orange Hills. And he built that program as well. And he's now the head coach of the esports program there. And it's been incorporated to that campus as an official athletic program. And while doing this, we helped out with this program there, and we started helping out with that program there. And then we started working with more and more esports organizations around here. And one of the biggest things that we saw is there's no connecting fiber for collegiate esports programs, right? So one of the things about that is, like, today you're going to see the skills of these amazing game development students who put together a fantastic game. You're also going to see the prowess, and you're going to see the competitive nature of these esports students that are going to come up here and compete against them. And I love to see the crossover of these two worlds. But one of the things is, like, for esports specifically, right? I love esports. I love competitive esports. You're talking about league, and I have been a league guy for my entire life. I picked it up in, like, yeah. I picked it up like freshman year of high school or something, and I couldn't imagine what my life would be like without it, in the sense that it might be better, but who knows? I am an ARAM champion at this point in my life. I can't bear the stress of a ranked game, so I'm now 1,000+ games of ARAM, and that's my, like, after dinner mint. You end the day with it, and then you go to bed mad. But so we started doing esports, and we built these two programs, right? And we went to these competitions, and the more and more what we saw is that there was no support for esports at the collegiate level unless you had a ton of money, like your UC Irvines or your UC Riversides or your USCs or things like that, right? And so we'd go to these tournaments, which was great. We'd see fantastic trophies that somebody put together. Chad, maybe it was you, I don't know. But we'd go to these competitions, and then these students would play their hearts out and blood, sweat, and tears on the keyboard, right? And we'd get done, they'd be victorious, and then it was just kind of like a flutter in the wind, right? And so we said, well, like there's no connecting tissue for esports. Like there's nothing there. And so somebody needed to do the work. And so we talked about it, and lo and behold, a few years ago, the California Collegiate Esports League was born. So CCEL. I am unfortunately not wearing my CCEL merchandise today. That's because I like cheeseburgers too much, and I need to get them reprinted. But what we do is we connect specifically community colleges and state schools together in competition in these events, and we want to be the nexus to make collegiate esports legitimate. We want to make it happen. We want it to thrive. And it's tough. I'll be honest with you. It's really tough because Josiah said something earlier, like who's your customer, right? Who's your client? And that's a really hard question when you're talking about state schools and when you're talking about community colleges and things like that, because like students, like these guys over here, Cam, Jimmy, I'm going to point at you guys. So these guys are from Santiago Canyon College Esports over here. These are my guys. Love them. They've been to a ton of our events. And one of my things, right, is when we're putting together the events, I have to ask, who's the customer, right? Because it's not these guys. It's not these guys. These guys are going to show up because they love playing. They love doing. They're going to be there. And so then the question becomes, how does an organization like ours survive and thrive to put on more events to foster esports in Southern California and beyond for guys like this who want to play, who want to compete, who want to do more. And so that's the hard part, right? And that comes down to relationship building. That comes down to seeking out those opportunities, those connections. And so we've had the fantastic opportunity and the very, very arduous process of going and making connections with all of these schools and doing first introductions like a million times over and over and over. The stage is cracking under my feet. I hope I don't go straight through it. Yeah, too many cheeseburgers, exactly. So all this to say that we are still in the process of doing this. We're still building. You may see our competitions. You may see us around, and we hope to see more and more. We're now at the point where people are searching our name and cold emailing us to say, hey, let's do something together. We just had Sony reach out the other day for an event that we had at Santiago Canyon College called Neon Night. And man, we're going to get the photos up on the website because we had a massive video wall and we had stadium lighting and we had 12 setups. And it's a really amazing thing that we've done 2 years running now. So, but all that to say that somebody has to do the work, right? And what I want to impart upon you is that, like Josiah is talking about, and the question that I'm asking, remove 20 years away, right? And what advice do you have for somebody that's just starting out, that's just getting started? I want to talk from the vantage point of somebody who's a couple years into it, and just to say that Josiah said that don't plan for the first thing to work, which is absolutely true. We've had to pivot, we've had to renegotiate, we've had to change our mind and rethink our strategy because it's tough out there. It's a tough world, especially when you're talking collegiate esports. Where's the funding? Who's the customer? And who can we count on to be there? And 2 years into it, it's a grind, but I love it. And you gotta love it, right? Because you gotta love what you're trying to serve. You gotta love what you're doing. And so for guys like this, getting up on stage and competing and getting to see them smile, to see them celebrate, to see them high five, and to see them shake hands with the competitors afterwards, that's the kind of stuff that makes it all worth it. And we hope that you'll see our name out there in different tournament aspects and all these things here in the very near future. We want to take off like wildfire. But again, you gotta love it. It's something to love. It's something to do. And I want to take it back to, if you see an opportunity out there where somebody hasn't done it yet, and you say, man, that would be really cool, right? Hey, it'd be really cool if, right? It'd be really cool if there was an NCAA for esports, for collegiate esports, right? It'd be really cool if there were more competitions. It'd be really cool if we could legitimize esports. It'd be cool if more of these schools had programs for me to compete in esports, for me to play League of Legends for fun, right? And I say to you, go do it. Go do the work. Go do the setup. Go try it, right? I've done a bunch of different things. I've had a lot of different jobs. I've had ton of different hobbies, and building a nonprofit and doing something like this is some of the most fun I've had. Because it's not for me, right? I mean, it is for me, but it's for guys like this. It's for everybody that we've got to connect with, and we get to make great connections with people like Josiah, with James, Chad. I hope to get your contact info. We'll stay in touch, right? And then I get to connect with you and all the other prospective students that are going to come and play and do these things. And so for like our Norco esports folks here or our Norco game dev guys, we get to connect with them. We get to build, and we want to put their work and their dreams on a bigger stage. And so I say to you in the audience, I hope that you guys will participate in these events. I hope that you'll support them. I hope that you'll be a big part of esports, because esports is a really phenomenal thing all the way around. And I say to anybody in the audience who is a student or is a prospect or somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur or wants to build something like this, or anybody that's just looked at the world and said, man, that would be cool if that existed. And I say to you, go do the work, go build it, go have a good time doing it, go put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, because it's gonna be hard. But at the end of the day, you gave it a shot. You could have gone last, you know?
I feel like you did great.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You said something. You said that, like, don't expect your first thing to go well,
Right, yeah, exactly.
Don't expect your second thing to go well.
Yeah, true.
but be prepared for if it does.
Yeah, true.
Sometimes it's like a runaway train, and then you're like, oh my gosh, what have I done?
Yeah, yeah.
Then all of a sudden, the other thing though is, like, just because it didn't go right as you first implemented it, when you first start planning, you can also plan for it to be able to evolve a little bit. And
Yeah.
so it can turn into something different forward. It's like, I'm a prop maker, but now I make esports trophies. I didn't expect it to do that. It can be fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And some of the best connections you make are from just awesome experiences that you've had, whether it succeeded or not.
Dude, my connection with him is him shooting me with a paintball when I'm like 11.
Sick. Yeah, I love it. We funny story about connections. For Broken Circle, I was recently in the market for a smoker, like a meat smoker, that sort of a deal, right? Because I'm getting to be almost in my 30s, and so I was like, well, I got to pick up golf and smoking meats. That's where I'm at here. So I go onto Facebook, right, and I see a guy. He's giving away this cool like Traeger meat smoker type thing, right? And I pick it up. I want to talk about connections and random connections at that, right? Talk to people. Because I go and I pick this up and I'm walking by this guy. I'm walking into this guy's backyard to go get the smoker. And in his garage, I see FaZe merchandise. Do you guys know FaZe, the esports program? Yeah, you know FaZe, right? Okay, you guys know FaZe. So I see props that Austin and Roshan and I had been at a competition, an esports competition. We got invited out to this thing at what do they call it? The NRG Castle? Yeah, the NRG Castle. Yeah, okay, yeah, rad. And we had seen those props there. And I look in this guy's garage and I was like, why do you have this? And he goes, oh yeah, they gave that to me. And I went, who are you? Right? And he goes, who are you? And so then we talked about it a little bit, right? And then we're talking about, he's redoing his house, all that. And he's like, oh, are you a contractor? I was like, oh, we family business, right? And he goes, well, what do you do now? And I said, executive producer for a video game studio. And he goes, we're hiring video game studios right now for our company. He's like, I'm interviewing one later today. So then now we're exchanging contact info, and now I'm picking up this smoker and we're shaking hands. And then later on, we're meeting with this guy and talking shop and talking business, talking contracts, all that good stuff. And so I got multiple hats here, but I want to bestow upon you, do the work, right? But also be friendly, be personal, talk to everybody, because you never know who's bringing something across your plate, right? Or, the guy who shoots you with a paintball, you never know what he's going to be to you. So it's really a lot of fun. Like if you can...
Practice on for drivers.
Yeah.
Just ask them questions.
Yeah. The unpatched one is just, so how long you been driving for Uber? Just opening with that, right?
The question I get asked on, like, do you actually drive with one eye? It's like, of course.
Yeah, and I will say that I chalk all of my, like, I like being up on stage. I like talking into a mic. I know that public speaking scares the hold on. It scares people. All right. But I will say that I attribute the vast amount of like my success and the ability to do all of the things that I've done, like and all these things I've gotten to experience, to the fact that I worked a job where I talked to thousands of new people every night, right? I worked in the concert industry for nearly a decade. So I say to you, dude, go get a job where you go talk to a bunch of random people all the time, every day, because you will meet the nicest people. You'll meet the world travelers. You'll meet the most personable people. You'll meet guys who are energetic and excited about what they do, and they have all these connections, right? And you'll meet the weirdest guys you've ever met, and you still need to make conversation with them, and that will serve you like time and time again. It will pay infinite dividends in your life. And so again, I say to you, go do the work. Go talk to people. You know, not everyone wants to have a conversation nowadays. I don't want to be like that guy who's like, nobody talks to everybody, you know, but go out there, like be the person to initiate. Go talk to everybody. And in here, I've already talked to a bunch of people, and you guys are all really fantastic. Everyone here is really smart, really intelligent, and has a lot ahead of them. And the more you talk to people like Chad, like Josiah, like James Finley, or anybody you meet out on the street, those opportunities are just waiting there for you, right? You said that there's enough work out there for everybody, right? Josiah, you would agree there's enough work out there?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. And so that's the sort of thing. And if you're looking around and you're like, man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't know what I want to do, but it would be cool if go make your own job. Go build the thing that you want to see in the world. Go do those things because you can. And like you have the ability. The world is broad. There's everybody out there, and everyone wants you to succeed, which is cool too. Like most people are rooting for you to win, to do a lot, to do better, and be the best version of yourself. And people like these guys, when you talk to them, are always going to be excited for you. So I think you're all going to do great, and I really hope you do. Josiah, I don't know if you have any like closing thoughts, closing words, anything like that.
Go do what you are excited about. I will just echo what Travis said. Go do what you're excited about, and keep doing it, and you will find success.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, be excited. Be enthusiastic. Like what you do, and if you don't like what you do, go find something else to do, or go build the thing that you want to do. Right? Like, Chad, Hoku Props didn't exist before, right? I'm sorry, Chad. I'm gonna keep using you because you're super cool, and you know. Hey man, I sat right here, and the whole time you were just like, "So what's your deal?" Everyone does, right? Isn't it so funny? I get that all the time where, you know, I'll go out and, you know, talk to people and they'll be like, wow, a prospective high school student. And I'm like, well, I'm 29 years old, so. I'm sorry? Thank you. This is all a sham. This is all a ruse. I'm acting every day of my life, actually. And don't tell Josiah that, you know, because I have to come work with him. But, you know, I'm just pretending the whole time and figuring it out. But yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. All this to say, like, to put a nice bow on this kind of rambling speech that I came up with at like 10 p.m. last night. Be excited about what you do. Go build what you want to do. There's a world of opportunity out there. Be the person to be proactive. Be the first person to go talk to another person. Try to make as many connections as you can. And overall, don't be afraid to kind of meander, right? Like, you know, be focused, do the next thing, like be adamant and move forward with yourself, right? But all of these jobs that you do will give you this breadth of experience that will make you just the most interesting person in the world. Yes. And don't be afraid to ask questions. That wasn't a question, though. No, I'm not. Yeah. Yeah, it is okay not to know something. Yes. Yeah. No, it's great. Ask the question. Don't be ignorant, right? There's a lot of things I don't know. Most things I don't know, actually. I would say that I don't know most things, right? And it's always cool to ask the question to know more. So the guy trying to put everything together. So for context, executive producer, my job is to make sure that when Josiah brings a contract, that it gets done on time, right? Finish it on time. Make sure that we get people coming back, right? Yeah, ADP. How big is your team? How many people you got? 6 people? Do you guys manage through like Discord? What do you guys do?
Discord and then Monday. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Is like the talks have gone on forever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like our organizational management software is Monday.com. That's just because it's super flexible.
Right.
And then we do a lot of our actual like active communication and discussion on Discord. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and it's tough, right? Management and like coordination, it's tough, right?
Well, the other thing though is it's evolved. So like originally my job was to do all the work, and now my job has become to make sure that the work just gets done
Yeah.
well enough.
Yeah.
Right. And by willing to hand off the certain tasks to different individuals and trust them with it, it allows me to go out and like my greatest strength, I said earlier, like I like communication.
Yeah.
But my greatest strength is probably job acquisition.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He really is.
But it's like, here's what we do, here's how we do it, here's what you're gonna get at this timeline. And you just have to nail those conversations or talk really early ahead of time. Or this is where things need to pivot. Let's reestablish, work back schedule, things like that.
Yeah. And it's tough. It's a lot of the overhead, it's a lot of the management, all that good stuff. I do love a lot of things. I like to be enthusiastic, right? And it's I am inspired and I respect you a ton. I want to talk to you more about this because, like you said, right, the talk could go on forever, but I would have just sat here and it would have been me and you talking for like 3 hours, right? But yeah, it would have been great. But yeah, exactly right. Like there's so many things to love, and like for example, in my executive producer life, working at Broken Circle, doing this, like delivering on time and doing the hard work, the groundwork, the tedious work to make sure that things get delivered on time. It makes it so that things come to fruition that wouldn't have otherwise come to fruition, right? Like delivering on projects or making games and working with clients and working with these awesome partners and that we've had the pleasure of working with, some big names in the end. So
I do not a question, but I am getting signaled that it is time. I think
is it? I can't see anything.
Yeah,
up here,
there's no clock up here.
Is there? I was like hoping the teleprompter would be like shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. But unfortunately, this laptop is just saying click to add title. So thank you, Josiah. I appreciate it. I know you got to run, and we have a great competition coming up for our students here at Norco College. We have the esports organization. We have the esports club going up against game dev. Very exciting to see, and you'll see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, give a huge round of applause for Travis Osborne and Josiah Ruiz. Great guys, man. I actually had Josiah as a professor back in the day. Best professor here at Norco College. Got to be one of the best. Travis is actually a really good friend of mine, and got to know him over the last couple of months, and he's a really cool, really funny guy. Obviously knows how to talk. Best public speaker out here that I know by far. So, yeah. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going on a short break here for about 15 minutes, but when we come back, it's going to be the main event, the GDC versus Esports exhibition. Hope everyone's ready for that, but yeah, we're going to be on break right now, and I'll see you guys back in 15 minutes.
I ain't scared of what they say. I ain't scared of what they preach. I don't care about anything when my goal is in my reach. Going up and up and up. I ain't falling at their feet. When they see me, better pray, 'cause I'm coming here to eat. I ain't scared of what they say. I ain't scared of what they preach. I don't care about anything when my goal is in my reach. Going up and up and up. I ain't falling at their feet, 'cause tonight I'm going big. I'm about to take a lead. It's insane how I come out of the gate. Ain't ashamed of the booms and the ricochet. Loaded up 'cause I'm coming with the flames. It's a squad and we coming through to make it rain. Look them right in the eyes, they will be afraid. Look alive, it's the time, make them be amazed. Only one going through, make them rearrange. It's the time you've been waiting, make them feel the rage. Look inside you and realize that you're running all alone in you. If you only put your mind into it, you'll find what you came to do. Look inside you and realize that you're running all alone in you. If you only put your mind into it. I ain't scared of what they say. I ain't scared of what they say. I ain't scared of what they preach. I don't care about anything when my goal is in my reach. Going up and up and up. I ain't falling at their feet, 'cause tonight I'm going big. I'm about to take a lead. I ain't scared of what they say. I ain't scared of what they preach. I don't care about anything when my goal is in my reach. Going up and up and up. I ain't falling at their feet, 'cause tonight I'm going big. I'm about to take a lead.
I stay when I can't breathe? There must be more for me. Been here before, I'm locking the door, hide away the key. This hopelessness is hard to swallow. Your heart of glass, empty and hollow. You're so close. my depth, can't catch my breath. Felt like I would drown. Been here before, I lock the door and turn the lights out. This hopelessness is hard to swallow. Your heart of glass, empty and hollow. You're so cold, a black hole, a dying star. That's what you are. You're so cold, a black hole, a dying
Hello? Everybody in the audience, thank you for being here. We appreciate your patience. The players are currently logging in, so please give us a few minutes while we get prepared. In the meantime, chat amongst yourselves. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for attending the first annual Game Development Showcase. We appreciate you all being here. This has been a labor of love. This has been a long time coming. And I want to tell you a little bit about what's going on here. So some of you may be confused because is it esports? Is it game development? What is this? What is this madness? Here at Norco College, we have under the same umbrella of game development, which is the department that we have here at Norco that teaches about game development in general, just general game development like 3D modeling, concept art, programming, level design, game design, all those different cool things that I'm sure the younger generation know what I'm talking about. So what are we? As the first annual Game Development Showcase, we're here to showcase students' work. And there has been a massive, massive, massive amount of work done on what you're about to see. And I want to help illuminate some of the things that you're going to experience. In game development can sometimes, it could take 4 years. Depends on which game. It could take 10 years. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You've seen developments that get delayed. You think it's coming out in 2 years. It's 3 years. It's 4 years. It is a massive undertaking. And some of the things that me and my colleagues in the games industry often joke around about is that it's honestly, it's a miracle that any game is released. And by miracle, it is a true miracle because you are dealing with artists who are creative minded. You're dealing with programmers who are linear, they're more like pragmatic, and you're dealing with designers that are a little bit in between, and in general, they have a hard time communicating. Things get broken all the time. You hear about bugs all the time. Things get broken all the time. And I am here. I just want to expand time here for a minute because I want you to know what you're about to see. You're about to see 2 years worth of work for each map that the game development students here at Norco College have created. They've created professional maps that are fully developed in-house, level design, iteration, game design. We're doing 3D modeling, environment art, materials, textures, lighting, you name it. It's there, it's all done, and it was a miracle that this event is happening right now. You know, it's funny, just before this event, you guys may not know this, but in my head, as one of the advisors for the club and full-time faculty here at Norco, I didn't think that this was gonna happen. Like I honestly, I'm absolutely amazed at all of the hands that were involved here and how everybody showed up and everybody came through, and I'm so thankful for all of the students in this club. So 4 years ago, I know story time, right? 4 years ago, I was hired here full time. It was around the same time that I was art directing on Fallout. I was working at Interplay. I was there for 4 years, and I needed something more. I felt like, for me, game development didn't touch that spot that teaching does, that helping students achieve their goals. I had worked over here as adjunct faculty in about 2014, and I saw that there was a huge community that was being built. And along the road, I ended up leaving, going back in the games industry. It kind of dipped a little bit, especially during the pandemic. And it was my lot in life, it was my goal, along with, and I want to give a shout out to all of the original club members. It was my lot in life, it was my goal to bring that back here at Norco, so that we can truly, truly bring in a community of people, because games are not developed alone. And there's a lot of people that come here that think that they can do this alone, and you can't. And so, sorry, give me a second. So the original members, really appreciate you 4 years ago. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Everybody that's here now, that is anybody who has had a hand in this event and all of these levels that you're going to see, well, all 2 of them. Again, it takes a monumental amount of effort to create something that you're about to see, and I hope that you can appreciate it. So one thing that I wanted to point out here is that in this game development department, you have people like me who are faculty. I've got 20 years of experience in the video games industry. I've worked for EA, Activision, Blizzard, Konami, Technicolor, you name it, probably in Southern California, I've been there. You have Josiah Ruiz and James Finley, who spoke a little bit earlier, who own their own business, own their own company called Broken Circle. And then you have Dustin Capps. Is Professor Dustin Capps out there? He's outside? Okay. Well, Professor Dustin Capps is the reason why this event actually happened. Because of his effort and his time. He is new faculty here. He works at Broken Circle. He's worked there for a very long time, and he is brand new faculty. He's been teaching here adjunct for a long time, and I just wanted to say how happy I am that he's joining us here at Norco College. All right, so with that, woo! Your host, Joseph, come to the stage. Round of applause for the Game Development Club. I'll have you guys lined up this way. Now, as someone who's a part of esports,
I'd love to personally announce my team. Give it up for Norco College Esports! As the art lead.
And because we know these maps back in by the back of our hand. We know every in and out. I mean, I have nightmares about the map. So, like, it's in my dreams, it's in my nightmares. I think about it anytime I go to sleep. So I'd say it's on my head, and I'm repping some of our merch we have out there. We have a worm. This is from our first map, and then this is a cherry blossom from our second map. We have them sold outside. We also have some 3D models and some other keychain designs, and we worked really hard on those designs too. So yeah, I think they're.
All right, give it up for Daisy, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for the Game Development Club. They've been working hard. Esports has the aim. We're gonna find out who wins here today, ladies and gentlemen. But I'd love for everyone to come sit down, introduce yourselves to each other, let the games begin. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, as each team is getting settled and getting ready, I'd love to announce my co-host for this segment, another fellow esports member who's helped rebuild this from the ground up, another Valorant manager, and a very good buddy of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Travis Kennedy!
Something that you can do it, but in terms of like developing, you gotta make sure that your model is looking good, you know, it's not taking up too much memory in the game, you know, just normal stuff. It's really like balanced at the time, but it definitely gets easier the more I'm like doing this with esports and then again working with game development.
So you think the pressure's harder for game development is what you're saying? Or you think they're even? It's different. I get it.
It's different. It's different.
Different for sure. All right. Next question. After playing a lot of competitive games over the years, if you were to make your own,
you know, all that type of stuff, then you definitely want to try to get graphical with it. But in like competitive FPS like Valorant, Fortnite, CS, and stuff like that, you want to stay as much performance sided as you can get, because down to the frame, you can lose or win a fight.
Literally down in the millisecond.
Down to the millisecond.
All right, dude. Well, hey, who do you think's gonna win, man? I mean, you've been a part of both sides. I'd love to hear your opinion.
GDC knows the maps, but I gotta give it to esports, bro. All my boys right here, bro. They got some aimers on there.
They got some gamers. I gotta be a little bit neutral here, folks. As much as I do love esports here, a lot of them do not play Fortnite. So it's a little even. It's gonna be a little bit interesting to find out, but I think GDC has something cooked up. Huh? It's over, folks. We'll do Travis 1, Travis 2, 3, 4. I don't know. 1 fish, 2 fish, blue fish, red fish. Dude, at this point, let's start going. You want to be Testing. It's not working. Does it still work on YouTube? I guess it's still working on YouTube. Okay. Alright, you guys have it. Well, if we know how to wing something, we can just start yammering to the crowd while we wait for everything to come back. Yeah, well, we gotta keep the mics up because apparently YouTube. It is fire. Shout out to all the people at home watching, man. It's been a long time coming. From the crowd, let's hear your guys' opinions. Who do you guys think's gonna win? Give it esports. Okay. It would be pretty cool. I mean, we'll find out, man. I genuinely don't know. Yeah.
It's like GDC knows the maps, but like at the same time, you guys don't really play Fortnite, so it's kind of at the same time like. Let's go.
Yo,
shout out.
PC.
Wait, who fixed
There
it?
we
I
go.
need to give a
And
we
we're
are back. Let's go. Wait, who fixed
There
it?
we
I
go.
need to give a shout out, bro. Shout out John, bro.
Shout out John.
It's always John, bro. Can we get a round
Our
of applause for
Norco
John?
Esports president who made this all happen. Shout out John.
Where's John at?
I don't know where John's at. He's somewhere.
Is he in the back?
I think he's in the control room.
Oh, I think I saw him put his hand up.
Yep, there he is.
There
man.
he is, bro.
Great guy, John. Shout out John, everyone. All right. Unfortunately, now that the PCs are turned on, we're gonna have to give all the players a couple minutes to log in. This may be taking longer than expected due to some technical difficulties, but again, if there's one thing I'm good at is yammering. Same thing with my buddy Travis. So I'm gonna check on GDC though real quick, make sure everyone's logged in.
Wanna lock in?